Pandemonium Reigns.
Pandemonium. Hey, we have officially have a mascot because you can't say panda without pandemonium. So, that's the weirdest intro ever. I'm Dan. He's Mike. We're ready to do this thing. It's weird coming at you just once a week, but here we are doing the thing. The season's over. Some people consider the off season a dirty word. We just think it's more opportunity for you to like and subscribe. That's what we think. So
yeah, that's facts.
That's what they should do, right?
Yeah,
and
spend your time wisely. Make good choices.
Okay. Make smart choices. Go read the Bible. Listen to wisdom. Like and subscribe. Pretty sure it's in there, right?
Somewhere.
First and second Walker.
Yeah.
Speaking of, your hair is long.
We're still going, baby. Still going. Almost unleashed it on the people today, but we'll save that for another day.
I cannot wait. To see you.
No doubt about it.
Run my hands through that. Hey, while you're liking and subscribing, we're going to start to tickle your ears. So appreciate ya letting us hang out with ya on this beautiful day, wherever you find yourself. Listen, I just want to thank, I've been meaning to do this and I keep forgetting. We have regular listeners in Belgium, and I just want to say hi. Thanks for listening, because that's super cool.
Also, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? No, I'm kidding. We love you. Thank you so much.
I don't even know do they speak English in Belgium?
I guess some do. I mean, I really don't know what the point would be of listening if not, but I really appreciate the overseas love.
Yeah, they do, and it's regular. So yeah, it's crazy. We're going to be talking today about first and second year head coaches in the college football world. We're going to give those guys some grades. We're going to break down. We're going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to spend some time on some. We're not going to spend any tiny bit on any of them. Brian Harsin. So, how would you like to do this, Mike? You want to do first year first or second year first?
Let's do, flip a coin. Let's do first year first.
First year head coaches. All right. So this episode is brought to you by Dan and Mike at Pandemonium Reigns, but it's inspired by a post from 247 Sports where they graded first year Power 5 head coaches. And even just looking at this, Michael and I already see what some people would call a discrepancy. And so we're going to talk about that because we need to. So let's just go down the list here. I think the top one is just very, very intriguing, and that's Mike Elko at Duke with a 9-4 record.
Yeah, I mean, like you and I had the reaction of when I saw this post. Totally forgot that there was a first year coach at Duke. I forget that they also play football. I'm guilty of that. It's something that I do, but yeah, that's very respectable. 247. We talked about the post. They gave him an A. And it's super, super hard for me to argue with that. I mean, it's borderline A+ material when you talk about Duke. Mm-hmm. When you talk about, this is the guy, if I'm not mistaken, that replaces David Cutcliffe, who was just a longtime wizard in the sport, different ways. So, I'm not going to say you replace a legend because it's not like replacing, Bear Bryant or Nick Saban or something like that. But it is Duke football. It's been a long time since there's been any consistent success there, if ever. So. Yeah. Very good job by Elko and crew. So I'm good with that A for sure.
Absolutely. I'm gonna agree with that and just point out, a season highlight for them breaking the U over their knee in Miami, 45-21 win over Miami, and then handling the Knights of Central Florida, which Gus Malzahn is going to be a guy that we get to. One of those year 2 guys. But yeah, man, I'm totally good with that grade. And 9-4 at Duke, man, I'm okay with an A+.
For sure. Especially in first year.
Yep. Hey, let's lump Billy Napier and Brennan Venables into the same, instead of jumping to Brian Kelly, let's go Billy and then Brent.
Yes, let's do that.
They got Billy at 6-7, or they don't. He went 6-7. They got him in as a C-. Talk to us about Billy real quick.
Man, I just don't know how to feel about Florida right now. Not only did they go 6-7 with the quarterback that everyone loved coming into the season. We joke a lot about Will Levis, rightfully so. But we forget that Richardson was getting that same talk, that first round top 10 buzz, which is still a real thing. Like, that's not dead, even after the year that he had. But I don't know who to blame in Florida's 6-7 record. You know what I mean? I don't know where it's at yet. There's definitely spots in their roster that are just not Florida standard at all. Like linebacker, I don't think is there. Secondary, I looked at prior to the season, they were super thin there. Quarterback, I mean, Richardson has all the potential in the world, but again, they went 6-7 with that. Like we talked about, 247 has them at a C-. Man, some of those losses, some of the times, I just don't know what they were doing. I think I would go with C-D. And we'll get to where we're talking about with the discrepancy with Brent Venables. But I think I'm good with C- and D, because there were spots in the roster where, again, it's not Florida. We know how Mulligan recruited and didn't love recruiting, and that's why he's not there anymore, things like that.
Yeah.
But also, just I can't get past all the questions that I have for Florida, and trust me, I'm relishing it. I'm loving it. But I also I don't know what to make of them yet. I don't know what they wanted to do offensively. I just don't. Yeah. Or I guess maybe why they kind of stuck into that box with Richardson. I don't know.
Yeah, my instinct is to look at their schedule and say, okay, where was the turning point? Because they started off with that week 1 win against Utah. But I don't know that there is a turning point. It's almost like when, you were in school and you turn in an essay and they say, listen, I don't know what you're trying to get out here. Why don't you write this again?
Yeah.
Why don't you redo? That's the way I kind of feel about Billy Napier. Like, really, some I don't know if I'd say high highs, but some highs and some questionable highs. There it is. Some questionable highs and some questionable lows. I mean, just running through this real quick. You beat the Pac-12 champion in week 1. All right. You could say that you got drubbed by Kentucky. 10-point difference, but I mean, that game was not as close as the scoreboard indicated. You squeaked by South Florida. You almost pulled out a miracle in Knoxville. Demolished Eastern Washington, 7-point win over Mizzou, 10-point loss to LSU when they were starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
22 loss to Georgia. You handled A&M. You drubbed South Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Same.
And then you turn around and lose to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Florida State was playing some of their best ball. You lost by 7.
Yeah.
And then you got drubbed by the Beavers.
Yeah. I mean, without Richardson, without a quarterback really at all at that point, but it's just some of those that roller, it wasn't like a high rated roller coaster. It was like a very average roller coaster. Just, hey, steps in the right direction. What are we doing? What on earth? Yeah. And part of it, why I'm in this headspace, is the whole deal with Rashada. Like, what are you doing with your quarterback prospect of the future? Like, what's going on there? How do you mess that up? Let me also say this, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about it, because it's just now we're just into the off season, but I don't like their trajectory for 2023. Receivers are a huge reason for that. No matter who plays quarterback, they're going to bring a lot of those guys back, but they just didn't do much. They just don't have the potential to take the lid off of many defenses. I guess that's why I'm kind of torn. I guess what it is, I'll be really impressed if they make a big year 2 jump. I'll be really impressed.
Sure. That's fair.
Again, not hoping to see it, but I would be really impressed if I did see that. You know what I mean?
You got multiple position groups you're going to have to figure out.
Absolutely. So they don't have those defensive lines and those front sevens like they used to.
Oh yeah, the Muschamp defense is long gone.
Long gone. Yep.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I think our listeners are too. I don't hear any replies.
I don't either.
Checking the email real quick,
and it seems fair.
Got nothing. So here's the discrepancy, y'all. They got Billy Napier at a C-, and I'm okay with that. I'm in agreement with Michael on his grade as well. And then you turn around and give Brent Venables, who also went 6-7, an F, which, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, things really started to turn for you with the Dylan Gabriel injury. I mean, you had 2 bad losses, TCU and Texas. Other than that, you lost to Baylor by 3. You lost to West Virginia by 3. You lost to Texas Tech by 3. You lost to Florida State by 3. uh, beat UTEP, beat Kent State, beat Nebraska. Sorry, lost to Kansas State by 7.
You know what?
What?
Here, if there's going to be a discrepancy like this, like a C- for the same record and an F for one guy, why would the guy who's in a first year head coach get the F? The guy that whose team lost Caleb Williams, who is a infinitely better quarterback prospect than Anthony Richardson. I mean, why is one an F and the first year coach an F when the young head coach who has been a head coach before gets the C minus? I don't understand if there's some sort of benefit of the doubt there. If there's like a, hey, look at the schedule they played. I don't see that.
Right.
I just don't get it. So here's my thing. If anything, I would flip those two because one included losing to Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
But I think Venables more so deserves the same grade. A C minus, I think, is more accurate. A D plus,
yeah, dude.
Something in that range. Yeah, the losses, like you said, were close, except for TCU and Texas, and the TCU drubbing involved your quarterback going down.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, I just don't get it. I don't think it's an F. If either one was an F, I think it's Napier at Florida. But I think it's in that C minus D plus range for me as well. The schedule was, the Big 12 had tons of parity this year.
All kinds.
I mean, so I'm not really surprised when it's a first year coach doing that at Oklahoma. I'm just not.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not giving him an F. I'm gonna put him somewhere probably low B, high C. I don't mid season. I think people were people in this area were saying, "Oh my God, it's a bust," but you're not paying that close of attention. When you look into it, a lot of close losses. Gabriel was injured. Several factors there, and I guess the argument is, what is the argument as far as roster goes? I mean, similar cases, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that the Oklahoma roster could actually have been in worse position than Florida's. I think. I really do. But, at that point, you're splitting hairs. So I guess just to me, he's in the Napier ballpark. He's not multiple letter grades below for me.
Yeah. Makes no sense. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and comment. Let us know what you think. Not like your opinion matters. Not like you're one of the hosts on this show. Just kidding. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Brian Kelly, 10-4, A minus. Call me crazy. I think it's low.
Yeah, I think it's low as well because I'll also never get this out of my head, much like some of the questions I have for other teams and coaches. We all expected this to fail. He didn't fit culturally. I mean, he was
booty dancing on his recruits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And look, that quarterback's now in the portal, so maybe there's a correlation. Just kidding. But I think that's low. You win the West in your first year at LSU, and you're not at all. I mean, listen, he did all these things, these good things. He's still not a cultural fit, and culture matters to me at LSU as much as anywhere. I mean, seriously, think about just the nature of your fan base, the location of your school. It matters. It really does.
Consider the last guy
and what he did.
Cultured. And I'm just saying how cultured he was.
Absolutely. What he did, how cultured he was, consider those things. And I am blown away that he went 10-4, won the West mainly being my thing. He beat Alabama. I mean, he did a lot of good. There's still some question marks, like how did Tennessee put that beat down on you? Like, I really don't, that even considering Tennessee's 11 wins, it just doesn't make sense.
Sure.
So yeah, man, I think that's low. A at minimum for me, if not an A plus, because it was year one, because it's LSU, all the things we said, just every bit of it.
Sure. I'll go back to what I said on the recap of the Tennessee LSU game. If the opening kickoff does not happen the way that it does, I think we're staring at a different outcome. It just, the ball bounced away from them from the get. Now, not taking anything away from us, we capitalized. I mean, that's how this game goes. We know we've been on the other end of it. Hello, Derek. Hello, Lyle. Hello, Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Jeremy. So here's my question. You're a blocked field goal away from 11 wins.
Yeah.
Okay. Put him at an A plus. Tell me what knocks him down to the A minus.
Yep.
The slow start, You didn't get Booty enough yards, touches.
I mean, seriously.
I don't know. Mario Cristobal.
Woo!
Got the U broken over the knee twice this year. 5-7, 247 puts him as an F. That is that might be putting it nicely, because
that is putting it nicely.
You made some transfer moves, portal moves, and now, granted, I think Van Dyke dealt with some injuries. Okay. You and everybody else is my argument.
Yep.
Dylan Gabriel, Anthony Richardson. I mean, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
So I mean, part of the game. And I don't want to sound like I'm issuing grace over here and not over there. Just I don't know. You made too many moves in the offseason. You put together a heck of a coaching staff, and Duke came in and had their way with you.
Oh yeah.
I'm cool with an F.
Oh yeah. That is putting it nicely. A Z, if that was a letter grade, would be appropriate here to me. It's as bad as anyone on the list, and we're going to go down it. But all of the transfers, and here's just going to always hit this point when we come to it, but here's why I put such low stock in the portal as I do. Here's why I don't care that Tennessee doesn't go land every guy that gets in the portal. Oh, they haven't landed a DB. I don't care, because sometimes it amounts to nothing. Other times, you look at Ole Miss, they tore it up in the portal. Yeah. They had a good start and kind of, didn't make it down the end the way they started. South Carolina had 1 million transfers. 8-4 is what that got them, and some, I don't know why they lost some of the games they did.
Yeah.
But you brought in a lot of guys. You played not that crazy of a schedule. This is a generous F. I mean, it's a bad job down
there. Highlighting very quickly, I was going to highlight some other stuff in the schedule, but just for time's sake, let not forget the drubbing that Middle Tennessee State put on them. F. Stamped. Marcus Freeman. I think week 3, we would have been like, oh, F.
Yeah.
F. Finished 9-4. 247's got him at a B. I don't want to spend a ton of time on here just because I don't like Notre Dame and I don't want to give them a lot of chatter. Yeah. I like Marcus Freeman. Heck of a turnaround. Some people were already calling for your head, saying it was a bad hire, should have done it, yada, yada, yada. 9-4. Congrats to you. I'm going to say B+, actually, though.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with the B just because of the nature and who the opponents were in some of those losses. The turnaround to me does, like, that's more like A- worthy to me. But
sure.
You played tough against Ohio State. Yeah, they lost. Smith and Jabba, we know that story. Lost to Marshall. It's hard for me to get past that and go higher than a B.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that's a fair grade and a heck of a turnaround. We'll see where it goes from there.
For sure. Moving on, Dan Lanning, new cigar smoking. Dan Lanning, 10-3, B+ grade. I think that the conversation is probably different on Dan Lanning, and he's probably getting a lot more praise if Georgia was not on that schedule.
Completely agreed. Trying to get to their schedule really quick and struggling to do so. But 10-3, you're a first-year coach yourself, is not bad at all. I know they avoided the likes of USC and, like you said, Georgia kind of defines the schedule. They put the smack down on them in week 1. We were all expecting Georgia to have some type of drop-off that just never happened.
Right.
So, B+ is what 247 has. I think that's totally fair. I could even go with an A-. I really could.
Yeah.
And, we'll see where they go from here as well. I would expect that they will have a very strong 2023 with Bo Nix coming back. They do pick up USC on the schedule in the regular season, but again, we'll see what happens. I could totally see them winning that game, not think twice about it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but I like that grade for them.
Yeah. I'm actually going to cheat here and knock that up a little bit just because of the portal work he's doing right now.
Yeah, he's also doing that work in the portal. There is no doubt about it.
Dude is a heck of a recruiter.
Yep.
Sonny Dykes, they got him in an A+. Man, I think this is, you're going to call me crazy here. I'm going to go NA. I think the verdict is still out. You're like, he just went to the national title game. Let's see what he does without Riley as offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's fair. it's going to be hard to not think about that loss in the revenge game for Kansas State in the conference championship, and then the absolute non-compete that the national championship was. It's going to be hard to get those things out of your mind.
Yeah.
He did do stuff that Gary Patterson never quite made it to. He capitalized on the situation. So I'm going to go with an A myself. I could completely understand why you're going NA. That's fair, but I'm going with an A because he did things that hadn't been done there before.
I'm cool with that. A minus. I mean, you took TCU to the national title game. I do think that Riley had a ton to do with that, though, and I think Clemson became an overnight monster yet again. Look forward to talking about that, though. Joey McGuire at Texas Tech, 8-5. 247's got him as an A. Had some good wins. First time in program history where they beat Oklahoma and Texas. Dude, good for them. I would love to see them become a annual problem in that conference as long as Oklahoma and Texas are still there. That's a whole nother conversation, though, on their exit. What will become of Texas Tech and schools like Kansas State and yada, 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 TCU, whatnot. Man, Texas Tech, 8-5, wins over Texas, Oklahoma. I'm good with an A for sure.
Yeah. Like we know, they replaced their coach for a reason. So to do that in year one, to watch the way that they played very strong, and like you said, in the close of the season, and they had those wins over Texas and Oklahoma. And I haven't given them a lot of thought since the days of Mike Leach and Cliff Kingsbury and Mahomes and things like that. I haven't just given a lot of thought to them. So very impressed with the first year of 8-5. Completely good with that grade of A, and we'll see where they go from here. Indeed, they'll need to carry their weight in that conference
for sure. Oh, sure. Lincoln Riley, USC, the Trojans. Real quick on Texas Tech. Maybe Joey should go pursue Kingsbury as his OC if he could find him on a beach somewhere.
Exactly.
Anyway, Lincoln Riley, 11-3. 2 of those losses are to Utah. Got him as an A minus. Listen, I think it's a tad high just because of the repeat loss to Utah. That is a very hard thing to do on Utah's end. Is beating the same team twice, but they did it. And it seemed like the game plan never really changed. It was, let's just outscore you. And you got some former Trojans who are mad at the defensive side of things. He had a lot come in from the portal. So props to him for doing that, for having dudes that want to follow him, for having an elite offense. I'm just going to knock you down to a B+. You choked when it mattered most in order to get into the playoff. Caleb Williams was dealing with an injury. Solid performance though. Good for you. I like USC being back. I think it's good for the game. However, I'm gonna move that from an A- to a B+.
I'm gonna drop it down to a B- just because the nature of the repeat losses, because of the path that they had to the playoff that they did not capitalize on. Not that he would have put up that great of a fight based on his history, based on the roster that they had against, eventually Georgia or one of the first round opponents that if it wasn't Georgia. Don't like how that would have gone, but I'm going to go with the B- because of the nature of the repeat losses, just defense that I don't understand for USC. I know that they've been down, so it is a climb back, and props to him for pulling a lot of that together.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm holding his, the past exits against him, kind of not making it to the show again. I'm holding some of that against him, especially with the state of the Pac-12 as it is right now, not even playing Oregon in the regular season. Not that they can control that, but I'm going to go B- just because of probably some grudges that I'm holding against him.
Yeah, dude. I'm down. Hold that grudge. Tony Elliott, Virginia. Just a bit of props to this guy for the way he handled that tragedy towards the season end, which is why the Virginia Tech game was canceled. Might have been why both games were canceled. I thought one might have been due to the weather, but I guess it's both.
Yeah.
So 2 games canceled. Anyway, the games you did play, you didn't perform well. And Mendenhall had a pretty good thing going at Virginia. I wouldn't say it was elite or great by any means, but I mean, respectable for sure.
Yeah.
And just heck of a drop off. You lost Brennan Armstrong now in the portal. 247 didn't give a grade on his 3-7 performance. I will. F.
Yeah. I could go in the D range. I'm just not sold on the product that I did get even against like Old Dominion. I know they didn't lose that game, or did they? They didn't lose that
They
game,
lost.
did they?
They lost Old Dominion. No, they
Oh
did. They
my
beat him by
goodness.
2. They beat him by 2. I'm sorry. They
Yeah,
beat
that's
Old
what I
Dominion
was
by 2.
thinking.
I think Virginia
Yeah,
Tech lost to him, maybe.
that sounds right. Just some of that early season bad. Can't get that out of my head. Hate the tragedy that happened. So terrible.
Yeah.
Props to him for his handling in that. Kind of rooting for the guy. Don't really have anything against him at all, but I can't go above a D for him, even in what I did see.
Okay, fair. I'm not even sure what I think about him as a coordinator with the elite offenses that he had as far as the roster goes at Clemson. Verdict's still out. Root for him. I got no beef with him. Hope he does well. I'd like to see Virginia, spoil some people's seasons.
Yeah. Let me segue that to Brent Pry. Exactly.
Yeah,
Brent
dude.
Pry.
Softball pitch, baby.
Like the discrepancy earlier and listen, I'm cool with Virginia and Elliott getting an NA, but I'm also going to go no lower than like a D or a D- for Brent Pry because that roster is in full shape. My man from Memphis that I can't think of your name right now just kind of never worked there. The head coach that is just Fuente. Yes, my bad. Couldn't think of his name because that's how bad it went at Virginia Tech. Left the roster in a terrible spot.
Yeah.
Don't understand the F there. I know they only won 3 games. I do get that, but terrible roster spot. He's got a deep hole to climb out of. Probably not the desired candidate that you're hoping for if you're a Virginia Tech fan when they went with him. So I'm just not going to go lower than a D or a D- for him either because he just does not have much to work with.
I think that's fair. I'm okay with the F due to a variable that just nobody talked about Tech. I mean, you were just so dismissed over. I don't imagine that rebuild is easy by any means, but you just didn't do well. And we're gonna flip the script a little bit. Kalen DeBoer bringing some positivity back to the conversation. Head coach at Washington goes 11-2 in Seattle. Got him as an A grade. I'm going to put him in the same boat as a Josh Heupel and say, let's see what you do without an elite quarterback. Because Michael Penix, very different Michael Penix from Washington to Indiana. DeBoer had set him up for success, letting him ball. Man, 11-2, hard place to win. Hang on. Not as easy, I guess, as it used to be in the 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I'm kind of on the fence, like you were with Sonny Dykes, like you mentioned with Heupel. They do get Penix for another year, so they should have. I think he's taking advantage of the COVID year, if I'm not mistaken. So they should have another strong 2023 campaign. Impressed because didn't really know much about the guy when they took him. We know a lot about Lincoln Riley. We've seen him do a lot. We know a lot about some of these other guys, even Sonny Dykes. We knew a lot about him, or we thought we knew a lot about him coming into 2022. So I'm with you. Let's see where he goes. I'm great with the A grade going 11-2 at Washington because it's just like you mentioned. It's not what it was, even in the 20 teens. So I'm good with that A. I think that's fair, not too high, not too low, and I'm going to stick with it as well.
I'm curious to know what their record was the year before with their past head coach. I can see that they finished 5th in the Pac-12 North, so that is not going to be a good sign. Okay, 4-8, and you turn that around, you go to 11-2. Anybody out there? Can you name me another player other than Michael Penix on that roster?
Absolutely
probably because
not.
they are, playing in the Pac-12 and Pac-12 at dark. I know that they've got a running back who's legit, and his name is like, it's definitely Samoan. I don't know. That was a terrible attempt. Man, I'm good with that A. I'm good with an A+. I mean, what the heck of a turnaround. I mean, I'm down. I'm good.
Yeah, completely.
Especially with the rise of some unexpected things in the Pac-12 North, like Oregon State, right?
Yeah.
Now Stanford's not. Justin Wilcox, I think he's still at Cal.
He is.
Doesn't have really things going on. But Oregon State is a bit of a surprise. Oregon, I wouldn't say is a surprise, but improving and whatnot. Washington State, who's also on this list. So let's go ahead and segue there. Jake Dickert, 7-6, B-. Thoughts?
Don't know much about this one enough to dispute that. I'm good with that grade because, yet again, all I can think about when I think of Washington State is even that they got less of Mike Leach than Texas Tech did. So that's all I can really think about them right now. That's just where I'm at. Good with a B, a grade in the B region of things. And I think that impacts Washington's path to 11 wins greatly because they're not just some, walk in the park win or anything like that. So I'm great with that grade for both Washington and Washington State.
Agreed. I think that anything above 500 as Washington State, because you're trying to get recruits to come to Pullman, Washington.
Woo!
That's tough. Mike Leach did a heck of a job there. So just the fact that I don't know who this dude is, didn't know of him until now.
Yeah.
I'm cool to be minus 7-6.
Absolutely.
Man. Sweet. We're going to move to year 2 head coaches. We're going to knock this one out a little quicker than the last because the list is shorter. So once you do this, once you throw the guys at us, give us their record, Mike, and we'll go from there. Who's the first?
First one I've got down is Steve Sarkisian with a 13-12 record, coming off of 5-7 in year 1, 8-5 in year 2.
5-7 and 8-5.
Yeah.
Can we do Brett Bielema next?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, we can.
Steve Sarkisian, 5-7 and 8-5. You said one more time. 5-7, 8-5. Man, you took Bama to the wire at home. You drubbed Oklahoma. Then what happened? So your year 1 performance, man, not good. You were off to a great start. You had Oklahoma in check, and then you bottomed out. Said that you lost our locker room, dude. That's year 1. Problem, year 2. At the end of year 2, you've recruited really, really well. I'm gonna say that NIL's got something to do with that.
Probably so.
And all I can see, Steve Sarkisian, is you lighting into this young man or whoever that was about him, trying to prevent you from going on the field. I'm going to give Sarkisian on his year 2 performance a C+.
I was feeling B- because, but no. You know what? C is considered average. So we're going to go with C+, because this is exactly where Texas has been. They looked like they were back with Tom Herman. They were not. I want them to be back so badly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I just can't be sold yet. So right now, this is average for what you've been doing. C+.
I mean, if Mac Brown can keep doing it in Chapel Hill, can he return to Texas? What a narrative! What a narrative that would be. I asked for Brett Bielema next because you threw out a terrific stat before we got started. Throw that at the people.
As Steve Sarkisian is 13-12 total at Texas, so is Brett Bielema at Illinois. Illinois. Now, his first year, I'm sorry, same exact scenario. 5-7 year 1, 8-5 year 2.
Good grief.
I was thinking that year 2 was a little bit better and brought him to that same total, but no, same scenario as Texas for Brett Bielema at Illinois.
So I'm going to say something that I said years ago. You might not remember this, but I've kind of always thought this. I've always thought that Brett Bielema would be a fantastic fit in Austin.
You have. I do recall that.
I don't know why Texas tries to play the game the same way as the rest of the conference with the bodies that you have down there and that you can easily pull from. I would play a different style. I would play bully ball. I would run a heck of a power run offense, which is what Bielema likes to do. And you're like, well, that doesn't work. It worked in Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah. Against a better, probably a more talented overall conference. Doesn't have the high speed offenses, things like that. But
sure.
Man, just against a pretty tough schedule.
Absolutely.
Had Michigan right there beat. Had them beat.
Yep. So I'm going to go A-.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm going to go with an even A because I was blown away at times this year what they were doing, the level of play they were getting out of those guys, transfers as well. But again, success that we've not really seen consistently, at least at Illinois. I'm good with an A.
Yeah. Who we got next?
Let's get to Gus Malzahn because we're not talking about Brian Harsin, who I think lost every game at Auburn that he coached. We're going to go with Gus Malzahn, who is at 18-9 through 2 seasons, going 9-4 in year 1 and 9-5 in year 2.
Man, I don't know. It just feels like the same old thing.
It feels like Gus. Like Gus.
Yes, similar stuff to what he was doing at Auburn. I guess you're just going to get what you're going to get when it comes to Gus Malzahn. 2013 with Dick Marshall feels like forever ago, and I guess feels like, if I'm hoping I'm using this word in its proper context, an anomaly.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know. So 9-4, 9-5. I believe they lost the bowl game to Duke. Did they not?
That sounds correct. I don't know for sure, but it sounds correct.
Just because it's another year of this, a boring B.
I'm going to go down one more. I'm going to go to a C because it, like we're saying, it is average Gus Malzahn. You know, if I could get into UCF Twitter for a minute, like all these people that had issues with Heupel is non-recruiting, things like that, riding Scott Frost coattails, things like that. Like, is this what you wanted to trade for?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even praising Heupel. I'm just saying, is this what you wanted to trade for? Like, for real? So average Gus, I don't understand it. There's just some inconsistencies that he's always had. So I'm going to go with a C because it's average Gus for me.
Absolutely. All right. We're winding down here. We're going to save 2 really good ones for last. Who we got next, though?
We have the first year Steve Spurrier at your school coach winners, whatever, from 2021. We got Shane Beamer and we got Josh Heupel to talk about.
So that means we're skipping over Clark Lee?
We're skipping over Clark Lee. We're skipping over Jed Fish. We're skipping some people. Judge us if you want to, or you come up with the content about those schools. You do it.
I can throw something out real quick.
Do it.
For Clark Lee to go from 2-10 to 5-7 at Vanderbilt, all right, cool, B+. For Fish to go from 1-11 to 5-7 at Arizona, all right, cool, B+.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Absolutely. Especially Lee beating Florida. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
At Vanderbilt.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do Shane Beamer first. What do you think?
Let's do it. I'm down with that.
Cool. That was fun. Josh Heupel.
A++. I'm kidding.
All right, Shane Beamer.
Shane Beamer is 15.
Hey, wait. Stop.
My bad.
We have promised the people who listen to Pandemonium Reigns that when we talk about it, when we advertise, hey, Mike is angry.
Okay. Yes.
Let it out. I'm digitally slapping you. I want it. Give it to me. Bring it out. Drop the thunder. Okay.
Shane Beamer, you are a freaking cornball. What are you doing, dude? Get off TikTok and Twitter now. If I see him in sunglasses one more time, I might have to serve time. I really might have to serve some time. Federal time. Capital crimes. That's what I'm talking about. This dude is – how is he a college football head coach? Like, I'm not making this statement because of his record, which is, again, 15-11 through 2 years, 7-6, 8-5. It sounds like the guy that I'm going to name, but it's not because of that. It's because of the used car salesman vibe that Lyle Allen Jones Jr. gave me as a Tennessee fan. Almost, hey, it started 10 years ago. Isn't that great?
Oh,
how long it's been? Isn't that wonderful? That's the vibe it gives me. I can't get past it. You brought in 200 transfers. You had like 300 people on your roster this year. You did go 8-5 with that. You lost to Notre Dame, who, like we talk about Florida not having a quarterback for their bowl game. Did Notre Dame have a quarterback for their bowl game? Like, because they
thought Pine played in that. I thought Pine played in that. Yeah.
I think he did. I'm being a little cruel there. I'm being a little extra because I cannot stand this guy. He drives me crazy. He beat the brakes off of Tennessee. Credit for that.
Yeah.
He beat Clemson. Credit for that.
Yeah.
But what is the deal with the other games? Like, what is the deal? You don't know how to use Jaheim Bell? Like, Spencer Rattler didn't do anything that he hadn't done at Oklahoma. I just don't get it. Yeah, like I said, credit for the transfers you brought in. Looked great. Now you're losing them. You're losing much bigger impact guys
you
brought in.
You had an exodus.
Much bigger impact guys than you brought in. You have an OC opening, and you had fans wearing Fire Satterfield shirts to games. He was your buddy, who, I don't remember if he fired him or if he found another job.
I think Nebraska pulled him away.
which he had worked with Matt Rule before, so it kind of made sense. It kind of did.
Yeah.
But you replace him with a guy who was a tight ends coach at Arkansas, Dowell Loggins. How is that your hire? How is that any different from the stuff that Butch Jones used to do? And again, he whipped Tennessee's best team in 10 plus years. He whipped them. Credit for that.
Yeah.
There are things to give credit for. I just don't understand all of the inconsistencies. You want to talk about Florida being a very average roller coaster? South Carolina is like the hottest roller coaster in the country. Then what are you doing? What are you on right now? Like, I just don't understand you. I really don't. The Florida and Tennessee back-to-back are the perfect microcosm of what they are to me right now. It was an ugly situation when he got there to me with Muschamp and the shape that the roster was in. You know, they were recruiting fairly well. I mean, Jordan Birch, who just left, was a 5-star coming in. They recruited quarterbacks really well. Doty, Helinski, you know, some of those guys that.
Well, Helinski is pre-Beamer.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just saying with Muschamp, they had recruited some guys.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
I just, you know, it never panned out for Muschamp there, which it's a tough job. I'll give them that.
Sure.
But it's a roller coaster, man. I can't define it any other way.
Yeah. And a lot of controversy over how he handled media.
Yeah.
You know, it almost seemed like he was losing himself or losing control. Like there was no coach speak about him until he kind of lost it, until he it just became completely agitated. So overall, I think South Carolina's a hard place to win at. So if I'm looking at the record, I'm saying, okay, like a B+, you know, something like that.
Yeah. I can go with a B because of the wins. His attitude and his antics.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
You know, and listen, I'm hard on the guy. I think he's a cornball. But there was a situation recently, like this week on Twitter, with a Clemson program on Twitter really going after them, like talking about they wanted Garrett Riley, but we got him type stuff. And Beamer gets in the replies. He quote tweets it and is just going at them. And I just don't understand how your skin is that thin still. I mean, your dad was a legend in the sport. I mean, I question so much about him because of the wins. I'm going to go B- because the antics and the childish nature of some of it brings it down. I mean, again, some impressive wins, hard place to do it, but I can't go higher than a B-.
Yeah. Yeah. The way he handled the media and the exodus right there at the end of the year, words are hard. At the end of year number 2, I think slides that down a little bit. So I'm going to agree with you on that grade and go with you. Props to beating Tennessee the way you did and beating Clemson at home. The Clemson loss, I feel like, is a little more explainable because of DJ. I don't think Tennessee's got an excuse that night.
No,
you just
no.
We got drubbed. So yeah, I'm cool with that. The people are going to say, well, Dabo's the same way and it works. Well, Dabo's winning at a really high level.
He's established winning to this point. He is proven at this point. I mean, he ended Clemsoning.
No, for sure. Yeah. The ceiling's higher at Clemson. The ceiling is easier to get to at Clemson as it is to a South Carolina. So, you know, there's some different variables there, but I don't know.
And to hire Garrett Riley is to branch out for Clemson right now. Whereas
it's a good sign for Dabo, man.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it feels like the mold is being broken and they need to do that because it's gotten a little stale. But to hire the Arkansas tight end coach who has not really done it as a coordinator when you had fans wanting your coordinator fired that's just butchy to me. That's all that is.
And the way he sounded off on that hire and feeling like he had to defend it.
Yeah.
You know, did you know that, you know, the SEC coaches, you know, he turned down job? Okay.
There's no need to even go there, bro. Just prove it on the field again.
Yeah, for sure. Joshua Heupel flipping to an Orange Cast. Just kidding. If you're not a Tennessee fan,
keep listening. Keep listening.
Oh well, keep listening. We talk about everybody else. Do us a solid one here, man. What a ride!
Wow,
hard not to go feel partial on this one. Really high highs, man. Really high highs. A low dang low. that night in Columbia. Again, props to Beamer for that. Feel like he did so many right things this year. I want to talk about some of the things that agitated me with him a little bit. There were some situations like this night in South Carolina where we just didn't adjust. Things that we had done all year, we just got away from. Defensively, it was a terrible performance. Now, Josh Heupel is going to get credit for the offense. And for some reason, he's not going to take any fall for the defense. The name that gets thrown around is Banks, right? Tim Banks.
Martinez Banks. Yep.
So considering the things that we achieved, Mike, let's try to put this through, look at this through normal goggles, not orange ones. Considering the things that we achieved, right? The monkeys off of our back, the beating of Bama in year 2, right? Beating Florida in year 2, something Pruitt didn't do, something Dooley didn't do, something Butch didn't do, something Dooley didn't do. Okay.
Yep.
Did in year 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is probably more just a spiritual monkey more than it is anything, right?
Yeah.
Just wondering if we can actually get this thing off of our back. But then you turn around, you look at the lack of adjustments, you look at the bad loss in South Carolina, you look at, just a couple of different things. Try to see this subjectively. Tell me where you land.
All right. I think I can actually explain this fairly briefly. I've been talking about Gus and the reason that I consider him average because he did what he's done. Texas, Sarkisian, he's done what they've basically done so far. Looked back at times, not actually been back. Well, Tennessee's never even looked back in year 2 of any of these coaches that we've hired. Like, not even remotely looked back. None of them have beaten Florida in year 2. It took Jones 4 years to do it. So the good, like you're saying, and not to even mention Bama, the good is higher than any of those guys have done. The bad for 2022 is pretty simple to explain in Georgia and South Carolina. Now, one is much more understandable than the other.
Yeah.
But because I'm trying to be fair about it, maybe even overcritical about it if I can, to avoid, being just a flat out homer on this. But for me, because again, the things that Tennessee has not done with any of these guys in their second year, many of them their third, I'm going to go with an A- because the South Carolina brings it down from higher, even though, again, I think the highs hold a lot of weight we haven't even mentioned going in and smacking LSU. However it happened. On the road, hasn't been done a lot. SEC West wins have been hard to come by.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with an A-. South Carolina brings it down. Florida, LSU, Bama, those all take it up. An Orange Bowl win, that certainly takes it up, but I'm going to keep it, I feel like, fairly clean and fair at an A-. I'm
going to go A because just highly encouraged from South Carolina to Clemson.
Good call.
From the South Carolina loss to the Orange Bowl win, you had a sudden change in Hooker going down, and now Milton. In steps Milton. I think what you've been able to do with Milton, how you've been able, now part of this is on him and his character and understanding his place and time and whatnot. But props to the way that you handled him, having him prepared for that moment, playing out of his mind, right? So instead of A-, I'm going to go A. I think if it weren't for that, I'd probably go A-. But you hung 52 on Alabama. You hung 40 on LSU, and then you got moments where you held a Brian Kelly offense, say what you want to 13. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some like the defense won you the Pitt game.
Yeah. And it was a huge factor against LSU. When it was at its best, it was truly bending to the core without breaking. That was the best that this defense had to offer, even at Pitt, Florida. Yeah. So you kind of did, I think, what you needed to capitalize. Like, you did just enough to capitalize. And I'm not taking things away when I say you did just enough. I'm just saying, like, you kind of played your cards the way that you had to, I think. Yeah. And again, nobody's done that at Tennessee in all of the hiring and firing that's been done. The roster was in a piss poor spot for 2021. We learned that even though it was not a deep squad, that it was a talented squad that could execute. We learned some stuff, but you played your cards the way that you had to, I think. And I think anything A- around that area, like you went with A, I'm totally great with that.
Let's not forget 5 top 25 wins.
Yeah.
Five of them.
Yeah. And, you know, the biggest thing is people were talking about if he won 6 games in 2021, he's coach of the year, stuff like that. We were talking about 8, 9 tops for this year. I mean, and he said, screw that. Like, watch this. When he talks about, you know, and it sounds like coach speak, a lot of the stuff he says, and he's very close to the vest. Let's not even act like he's not.
Sure.
But like when he talks about the team not believing that it has limitations and stuff like that, it's a lot easier to believe because we just never thought a lot of the stuff could happen this soon. So major props.
10 wins in year 2. We haven't seen 10 wins since 2001, 2002, something like that. So
something like that.
Say what you want. Say what you want. I mean, we did almost give away Florida. I mean, it was right there.
Yeah.
But I think we overcame a lot of adversity. Wow, words are hard. I mean, I think a lot could also be attributed to the culture in the locker room, and I don't know, man. I just a lot of positive for Heupel, and I'm curious to know how UCF fans are feeling now.
Yeah, and last I saw, it was that same energy of, y'all take him, enjoy this time, things like that, you know. Well,
okay.
I mean, I didn't expect him to recruit this well either. Like, it hasn't.
Well, that NIL deal popped in at just the right time as far as Heupel's concerned.
And it certainly did, especially with where Tennessee's roster and program was. It certainly was timely, and you mix money and passion of Tennessee's fans and things like that. It's a recipe for good things.
Yeah.
But, I mean, y'all keep that energy, but he's recruiting far better than I thought he would. I just want to say that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot's going to be out on him on this offense coordinator change, stuff like that. But it sounds like it's a good thing in what he has done thus far, and potentially grooming somebody behind this current one. So that's going to be fun. Good times. Good times. Good times. This is Pandemonium Reigns, and I am Batman. Just kidding. Hey, thank you guys for hanging out with us, for letting us tickle your ears, as we always do. Make sure you tell somebody. If you're driving and you're listening right now, pull over, text your mama. Be like, Mama, listen, you want to know football? Listen to these guys. They know what's up. It's just an opinion. No expert, right? No expert opinion, but just an opinion. We love sharing it with you guys. We do it for free. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You're watching on YouTube. Like this video. Make sure you are subscribed. Follow us on wherever you get your podcast. Appreciate to our homies in Belgium.
Much love.
Much love to you guys. Can't say pandemonium without panda. Pandemonium Reigns. I'm Dan. He's Mike. God bless. Go Bombs.
GBO.
Pandemonium Reigns.